Y'all, I know I look fucked up right now. This is old ass makeup that's been on my face since early in the morning because I had a filming gig this morning that I had to be beat down and now I just look beat up. I don't give a fuck. I got some stuff to talk to y'all about. If I started giving a fuck right now, quite frankly, it would be off brand. I completely spontaneously removed my boho locks today and I wanted to come on here while my thoughts were still fresh in my mind and give you guys my final review and recommendations. I'm a little bit shut out of a cannon right now, by the way. I am T, in case this is the first video of mine that you are ever watching. I go by the Nappy Headed Jojoba here on YouTube. A few weeks back, I uploaded a video showing you guys my installation of my boho locks, which I purchased from Boho Locks. It is a sister-owned business run by Lulu Pierre. She is lovely and amazing. She is on the gram if you would like to check out her wares at Boho Locks, I believe. I will leave it here on the screen for you to check out, as well as in the description box. In any event, I installed my boho locks on July 3rd, I think it was. It was 4th of July weekend. And today is, I think, August 8th or 9th. I'm not entirely sure. I'm a bit like the dude where someone would be like, are you really going to come to work dressed like that on a Tuesday? And I'm like, is it? But yeah, I'm all greased up and looking haggard because I have not even washed my face since coming home from a day of shooting. And yeah, I was literally just like feeling one of the shorter twists popping out of one of the locks. And I decided to take it out. And then I just kept going. And I ended up removing all of the boho locks today. That's not entirely true. I actually had a similar experience last night where this was going on throughout the time I was wearing them, where the side of my head that used to be shaved, I've got about maybe 6 inches of hair there now, which is now somewhat shrunken up. So those twists would routinely pop out of the boho locks that were wrapped around them. And typically I would just rewrap them and keep it pushing. But last night I ended up removing one or two just because as the weeks have gone on, my anxiety over what the takedown process would be like rose and rose and rose and rose. From day one, I was very concerned about what the takedown would be like because I was worried I wouldn't be able to get my hair out and would have to shave it all off. As you can see, that is not the case. These are dirty ass twists. They are the original twists that I installed to put the boho lock hair around. This is my hair that I use as a base to actually wrap all of the boho locks around. I wound up taking all of them out today, which was somewhat unscheduled. I was really planning to do it over the weekend, but I just could not wait any longer. And after sort of dipping my toe in the pool last night and realizing that I would be able to take them out somewhat realistically without having to cut all of my hair off, I just went for it today when I got home. I don't know exactly how long it took me because it was very spur of the moment. I didn't think to look at the clock, but I reckon it took me maybe 2 hours, maybe even less. I really don't know. I know I listened to an entire Pod Save America podcast, and then there was a little bit of time that I had been taking them out before that and a little bit of time after. So the locks are out. Let's go through my final thoughts and experiences wearing them. Overall, I really love how the style looked. I got compliments on them constantly, and I thought that they were actually fairly comfortable to wear. I didn't feel like they felt heavy unless I put my hair up in a high bun, which is unfortunately how I tend to like to wear my hair the most. I wear a lot of high buns. It's kind of my go-to style because I don't like my hair on my face. And also I work out and stuff, so it's just easier to kind of keep my hair up, and it's also protecting my ends by keeping my hair up and tucked away. So while the hair was comfortable and didn't feel heavy while it was down, it did feel heavy once it was sort of concentrated into this enormously, obnoxiously large bun. And I love an obnoxiously large bun. So I loved the look of the bun, and it was okay. I could deal with it when I wasn't working out, but it was challenging having heavy hair, heavy-ish hair, while I was working out, because anything I could think of to do with it to kind of get it out of my way for workouts made it feel heavy because it would sort of condense the hair. Whether it was putting it into like one big French braid, it would be like one big heavy French braid. Honestly, the only time the hair felt lightweight and fully comfortable was when it was down and loose. And I know it looks great that way, but it's not super practical for me and my lifestyle. So that's just a consideration for me the next time. The next thing I should talk about is snagging. As the hair aged, there were several strands that would sort of migrate out of the faux locks and become ensnared with the neighboring locks. And it became harder and harder just to even maneuver the locks, or I couldn't really run my fingers through them or anything like that to kind of position them easily. It became kind of just a series of webbing amongst the locks, and it became hard to maneuver them. I don't think this is specific to the boho locks. I think this is symptomatic of all faux locks. I've heard other people who have done faux locks with other brands talk about this same phenomenon, and I tried to get a little bit of video of it, but by the time I did it, I already removed most of them, so it's not really that obvious what I'm talking about, but I think you get the point. The takedown was easiest with the short ones because I would say most of them had sort of popped out on their own, like, get this faux lock off of me. Even though I love the style, I was definitely getting anxious because I was worried about the takedown. I was sort of worried about just being able to look after my hair inside of the locks after a certain point. So even though the style was beautiful and looked great and I'm very happy with how it turned out, just my own anxiety with trying a new style sort of hindered my experience in terms of fully enjoying it day to day, which is really more part of my being loco than it is an issue with the product, if you feel what I'm saying. It was a little bit more challenging to get the faux locks out of the longer parts of my hair, most of it, because I would have to figure out exactly where my own hair ended inside each faux lock and sort of like feel my way through the ends, figure out where the end of my hair was and sort of like pull it out. And from there I could then unravel. As I mentioned in my installation video, I had the foresight to only loop the faux lock through the root of my twist once because I wanted to make it as easy to take them out as possible. I was less concerned with leaving a trail of tumbleweave behind me than I was with actually being able to get these things out of my head. It was still pretty hard to find the loop to kind of undo the lock and pull it out, until I figured out that if I just cut off the majority of the length of the lock, then it was relatively easy to just undo the loop and pull out the little root of the lock, I guess. So it actually wasn't that bad, as evidenced by the fact that takedown wasn't nearly as long as installation. I think it was a pretty swift takedown, honestly. I think it was probably quicker or about the same as taking down some medium-large kinky twists. As far as maintenance, I honestly didn't do a whole lot. As I showed you guys in the installation video, again, I really loaded my hair up with moisture. I went through my whole hair prep process and everything in that video, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But I found that that was actually a really good sort of prep routine. So the next time I do the style, I'll probably use the same method and products. And then I also talked about how it was sort of hard to get complete coverage with the locks around my hair as I was doing the installation. And then I realized as that was happening, I was like, well, in a way, like, even though it doesn't look as perfect because you can sort of see my hair peeking through here and there, it's kind of nice because then when I do want to mist my hair down or apply product, it's actually partially exposed, so I can kind of get moisture into my hair more readily. And two, it also served as a bit of a dipstick to kind of see how my hair was doing inside of the locks. I was able to kind of feel my hair, I could feel the roots, and I could feel the little pieces that were exposed to see, does my hair feel parched? Is it saying And for the most part, it didn't. I think I moisturized my hair only twice the entire time I was wearing the locks, which was about a month, because it really did hold in the moisture based on the products I used, as well as the fact that my hair largely was not exposed to the elements. For the most part, my hair was covered, and I think that slowed the evaporation of moisture from my hair. So while I was worried about my hair being cocooned in the locks and not being able to receive moisture, on the contrary, it actually helped it to retain moisture better than it probably would have otherwise. Any cons that I experienced with this style are largely due to poor decisions on my part, namely doing all individuals instead of crochet in the back and only individuals in the front for a more natural hairline. Doing all individuals means that you're doing some unraveling of the locks as you're installing them each and every time, which increases the frizz and increases how soon they're going to start frizzing up and catching on each other and creating all of that messy tangling that I was talking about. And it overall just shortens the lifespan of how long you can wear the style. It also lengthens how long it takes to take them out because you're taking them out one by one instead of just, unbraiding your cornrows and sliding them out as you go or whatever. Plus, I think it would be just as easy, if not easier, to maintain moisture in your head with cornrows in the traditional crochet method in the back. Whereas with me, it was serendipitous that my hair was able to maintain moisture so well. But if you just have cornrows underneath, you can easily just part your locks, add your moisturizer or whatever oils you like, and keep it moving. The big question is, would I recommend boho locks? I would say, A resounding yes, absolutely, and I will be repurchasing these locks at some point. Future considerations, I don't know how many times I can say this, but for the love of God, do not do individuals all over your head. Do the traditional crochet locks, get someone else to cornrow your hair if you're cornrow challenged like I am, and only do individuals in the front. That was the nightmare of my experience in the installation, and it also made my takedown worse than it probably would have been otherwise. The other thing is that I was really happy that I had a color of locks that was very different from my own hair, because it made it a lot easier to see where to cut, because I wasn't anticipating having to cut during the takedown. I honestly didn't know what my takedown process was going to be like until I started doing it. I just figured I would start unraveling and I would figure it out from there, and that's what happened. But it was a big help that the locks were a different color from my hair, because it would have made it a lot harder to not accidentally cut my hair, my own hair, if it was a number 2, number 4 situation like what I have. So that's just something to think of. You might want to plan to have someone help you if you find yourself having to cut anything when you're doing your takedown. But that's pretty much it. I absolutely do recommend the boho locks. I loved how they looked. The heaviness probably wouldn't be as bad, in terms of putting my hair up in a bun if I had had crochet in the back. I really think that my next time around, by doing crochet in the back, it's going to be a lot smoother and a lot more fun to wear. I don't know what color I'm going to get next time. It seems like Lulu is adding new colors just about every month, so there's a lot more options now than there were when I got mine, so make sure you check out her site. I'll leave a link in the description box in case you've never heard of boho locks and don't really know what I'm talking about, in which case I'm surprised you made it this far in the video. But that is it. Thanks so much for watching. I cannot wait to wash my hair this weekend when I finally have some time. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now.